And so to St Mark's Square. Just a slight flood this morning. We have about 90 minutes before the start of the secret tour. We saw yesterday this truncated column, which, like so many more things here, came from Syria. A relevant official would stand on this column to read out all the new laws enacted by the government. So now a complete architectural survey of the front of St Mark's Cathedral, starting from the left. Most of the cladding and artifacts attached to the outside of the cathedral were, shall we say, liberated from abroad. Above the far left door is a 13th century mosaic representing the arrival of the body of St Mark at the basilica. It contains the earliest known representation of the basilica itself. Most, if not all, of these columns came from abroad, and also most of the bas-reliefs that you see just there. The pictorial representation over the next door is of Venetians venerating the body of St Mark. The one we saw over the first door is the only original. The other four are later replacements. This is because during the 16th century they had to be removed for some strengthening work which needed doing. The larger central doorway has three separate arcs of bas-reliefs depicting professions, months and virtues. The mosaic is a 19th century work representing the Last Judgment. I'm not sure if it was a requirement, but certainly captains of Venetian trading ships were well advised to bring home with them some ornament to add to the building. The next doorway represents the arrival of the body of St Mark in Venice. The story seems to run from right to left. Of the bas-reliefs which appear between the arches, like this one here, one is a 3rd century Roman and the others were carved to match in the 13th century. This, the far right doorway, bears elaborate Moorish decorative motifs and represents the removal of St Mark's body from Alexandria in Egypt. We come now to the far right of the facade. Another aquarii with his water pot and a final bas-relief. We still have a little time left before our tour of the palace, so we follow the pigeon. We notice that the queue is very short and we've always wanted to go up onto the veranda there to look at the horses. So here we are with the pigeons. And our view to the left is out towards San Giorgio Maggiore, and to the right the clock tower. And of course we're up here with the bronze horses. They are actually copies. The original ones are just inside and we'll just have a glimpse at those later. So that's the bell tower with the loggia at the foot. We'll take a look at St Mark's Lion on top of one of the flagpoles, and now we'll have a look at the four mosaics on the facade. The one on the left represents descent from the cross. The next one represents Descent into Hell. These mosaics are of the early 17th century. This one is said to represent resurrection. And here a representation of the Ascension. We next have a close-up of one of those aquarii. We're still on the balcony, but we've turned round down the south side of the church. It's been said before, but no other church could possibly have so much loot embedded in its surface, picked up from around the Mediterranean, largely from Byzantium, which of course at the time I suppose would include Syria. Look at this selection of coloured marbles and onyx and such like, set out like an artist's palette. And this here is obviously Byzantine as well. This is the last of the outside, and we're going to go back inside now and have a quick look at the real horses inside. We can then have a look at the inside of the cathedral from the balcony and from downstairs, but of course we can't take any pictures. There's so much to say, but we can't take pictures. I've assembled these few mainly from the internet. We look now at the golden altarpiece, the Palladoru. Made originally around 1105, it was later encrusted with thousands of precious gems which Doge Dandolo brought back from Constantinople in 1345. We've come back now to the entrance hall, and I did want to get a picture of the floods inside the cathedral, which I did take one and got told off by the beadle.